yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC. It is match day. We have last season's nemesis today. That's the mighty Monza, all right? But they are going to be happy with where they stand in the table right now. But for Juve, we just got to take care of business, baby. Got to get the W today. I got Anthony with me. I got Omer with me. How are you doing, fellas? And are you ready for this one?
Yes, all good. Doing great. Waiting for the match. And that's about it. Monza, I'm more nervous than I was before the Inter match.
I would say the same. It's funny how that works, but it's true for me. I'm probably a little more weary of this game, and I'll basically just say it. Their game plan is exactly the blueprint to give Juve problems, and has been for a couple of years now. But we'll get to that. Anth, how you doing, man?
Living the dream. You know, it's December, Christmas season for those who celebrate, for those who don't. Happy December 1st. Glad to have Omer back. It's been a long time. Good to see Omer in the house. Got something wrong with the tooth. That's neither here nor there. That should be transparent to the watchers and listeners. But hey, 3 Fridays in a row coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever the hell that scheduling was, but I guess it is what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm free today, so I will be rocking a watch along, everybody. So I hope to see you all in there for that one, okay? Because I am off for this one. The next two coming up, probably not so much, okay? But it is what it is. And yes,
True,
yes,
Alex.
no more grass mowing for Anta. Finally, we got
Bam.
Tal coming in here. Omar in the tank. If you know, you know. There you go. And yeah, Sal, we will definitely get to the rumors of Sandro potentially starting. And what is up, legend Tony Trim here. Great to see you, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first things first, let's clear the housekeeping out of the way right out of the gate, okay? We're happy to be partners with the official fan clubs of North America. We cannot stress enough to join your local fan club, not only if it is in North America, but worldwide. There are some amazing official fan clubs all over, and they do a ton of work to bring us closer to the club each and every day. At the Derby d'Italia, it was a great initiative put forth by the club. Finally starting to showcase all the work that the official fan clubs put in, and they got to get up on the maxi screen during their watch parties. Fantastic stuff, all right? So always love for the official fan clubs. Last one, love for all of you, and a thank you. Our merch is 15% off the entire store, free shipping as well. For the next 3 days. It started yesterday, so you still have 3 days, all right? And I'm sporting the 38 Sul Campo, soon to be 39 as we load that baby up, all right? Now, housekeeping out of the way, it's time to let fly. And what a wild week of rumors, okay? And everybody seems to think that rumors are placed strategically by media outlets and everything. You guys know how I feel usually when there's a lot of smoke, there is a little fire, all right? But the whole Conte thing, Allegri thing and everything, and then fans saying, it's just media outlets trying to distract us and whatnot. I'm going to say this. It's nothing more than being relevant, okay? I'm going to remind everybody something we should all know. The media around Juve has been a circus and has been chaotic as long as I can actually remember, okay?
No.
It's always been a circus, okay?
You're crazy.
It's never going to change. It's all about relevancy, because whether we're top of the table or we aren't top of the table, we are the top draw in Italy when it comes to calcio. So media outlets, they're going to focus on Juventus. As far as saying that the club, they're trying to distract the club, anything like that, this is a part of being at Juventus. From the players to the management to any employee of the club, if you cannot put rumors aside, Juventus is not the club for you. And I'll just lay it out that simple.
What's going on here? Is there something that kicked this off? Fill me in here. What's happening?
No, it's just the simple fact that the notion of any media rumors throwing the club off the course it's on right now. It's a ridiculous notion. I'm not going to buy into it one bit. Vlahovic had a great interview talking about transfer rumors, all that, and he says, look, if you can't put that aside, you're going to go psycho, essentially, because it'll never stop, especially at a place like Juventus. So the thing with these rumors and everything, and you have a game going on right now with friends of Massimiliano Allegri in the media as well, trying to protect his reputation and everything as you get all the Conte stuff heating up. The bottom line is, if I'd be more concerned if my players and my club, my manager were paying more attention to rumors than they were everything else going on. As a professional athlete in any sport, that's always going to happen. You got to put the blinders onto that and just keep cooking. So I don't really fear any distraction from coach rumors and all this. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, you can't possibly believe this team's going to get distracted by that, will you? What do you think?
Well, it's always been a part of football in general, and Juve particularly. It's
Sports.
nothing new. I feel like we have to remind everyone that fact every once in a while, but it hasn't changed. It's been like that since the 90s. I remember newspapers here still talking about the same stuff, and it just got into overdrive with all the social media. Then you can get all of it whenever you want all day. I mean, we run a news channel for Juve, and there's just non-stop news. Day in, day out, all day, all night, there's something to post from a newspaper, from a reporter. So it just, we get exposed to more, but I don't feel like it's been different back in the day. Just something that surrounded Juve all the time.
Yeah, and like I said, in sports in general, you got all your top clubs. They're, where the media's a hotbed. It's just natural for sports. Ant, your thoughts?
When you're the biggest club in the country in terms of fan base, whether you post something, you're going to get more clicks if you post something negative. So you're going to post that or in the negative sort of lane, or however you want to write it, headline it. That's just going to draw more advertising. Really, it just comes down to advertising. All these news media outlets are just trying to make money. And the best way to do it is, not attack, but you talk about the biggest club to get the most clicks. That's all. It's like I'm just going to assume how it is in Britain. With all these different tabloids, you're going to put the biggest stars on the front of your paper with the most salacious headlines. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's nothing special. It's nothing exclusive to Juve. I mean, if you go to Spain, Real and Barca deal with the same stuff. United in England, Liverpool. I mean, every big club that has the most fans in the country gets the most news, and there aren't a lot of news all the time. So nothing special about the media inventing stories just to, keep fans engaged.
There isn't a lot of news.
With you guys 100%.
Especially when all the Italian teams shit the bed during Champions League this week, except for
with
one.
With the glasses. Professor.
I'm not calling you Professor.
Neither am I.
Listen.
No chance.
The rumors, look, that's not going to throw Juventus off course again. Deal with it. It's not going anywhere, all right? So just a friendly reminder, it'll never, ever change with rumors. Now, as far as the coaching portion of these rumors go, I will say this, okay? Right now, where I stand is that Max is doing a good job this season. What happened in the previous 3 seasons doesn't essentially really matter the first 2 seasons. Doesn't matter at the moment. It's all about what you're doing right now. Right now, we're on course to be the only anti-Inter side in the league. Let's just keep things rolling and let the chips fall where they may at season's end and let the club make those decisions. And right now, but all this, news and whatnot, I don't think anybody truly knows. I think there is a little bit of fire, with that much smoke, and something could be brewing, but you're not going to find out. We're not going to find out at 13 games into a season. Wait till season's end, then we'll deal with it. But right now, the lads are doing good, and let's keep it rolling, and let's keep the focus on that. In terms of the coach in general, style of play and all this, and wanting changes, I've been saying it for a while now. For me, style of play is something that I think good managers adapt to based on what they have. And I've started to call myself out as of late by giving some of the players on this squad a little too much credit, I think, before that, especially in the middle of the park. And that's where I think the most upgrade needs to come. And then we can evolve our game and whatnot. But we'll have to see what happens. As far as targets to try and help the midfield, Donny van der Beek coming back into rumors and whatnot. And Skanga probably thinks that's the guy from Dawson's Creek or whatnot, but it isn't. So
We got a local Dutch flower shop. I think they're van der Beeks. Very good with the tulips. Is he a
Omer.
player?
You're so old, man.
Omer, yes or no on van der Beek?
I don't know. It's the profile we need, but I don't think he's the guy. He's been benched for too long. I haven't seen him play for 2 years. Like
Okay, you haven't seen him play for 2 years. How the hell am I supposed to know who he is? I know the
No,
name.
he barely played. He didn't have a good stint at Everton, and then he came back to Man United.
Everton.
Didn't play well there. So
Watching Everton.
no, I mean there are a lot of other options in that role that
Mhm.
can fill the gap without breaking the bank and splitting the salary with United and stuff. So yeah, probably a no for me.
Yeah, I think there was a time it could be considered, and it would be really intriguing. But much
his
like
name not thrown
everyone that
around 2
goes to
years ago?
United for quite some time now, it really, really sours the taste on any potential moves there. But James
we linked
saying
to him a
no
couple years
more
ago?
United leftovers.
No?
Another club soft in the middle, like Casemiro's tummy. Okay. Yeah, they're in shambles. They've got problems and whatnot, and I wouldn't mind staying away from their players as well. In terms of other targets, the usual names are going to surface there, and you've got Samardzic, you have Sudakov, you have Spertian, you have youngsters coming in there now, and who was the one? I just had one yesterday. Vasily Adzic, a 17-year-old for $2.5 million. You've got eyes on Rooney Bardghji and whatnot. Rumors are going to go nuts as far as targets and everything. It's going to be a crapshoot at the end in January. The potential to see nothing is also there as well.
That's my bet.
Is that
no,
your
I'm
bet?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess they sign at least one midfielder. They have.
Of significance?
I feel they absolutely have to. My feeling
have
is
to.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, they have to. You lost Fajoli and Pogba, and you have
Yeah.
no one else in the roster. I mean, one guy out, and you don't have any subs. You gotta sign someone.
Is this a more dire situation than when we had to go splash for Vlahovic up front?
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
I mean, the problem still remains the same when it was when we bought Vlahovic, but you literally have no substitutes. I mean, Locatelli didn't play or barely played, and you only had Hans on the bench. You can't only rely on the guys from the next gen. Okay, I
But
know
if
there
you're
are some
only
names there,
playing-
but
If you're only playing two competitions, my fear is that Juventus is going to overspend. Well, I don't see them overspending in January. That's my thing. I see them maybe making a deal for someone in January for someone to come in June.
Yeah, but you can do
And
that in a loan with option, and those are probably the deals that are going to have to take place anyways because teams
I don't
in
see
Italy
anybody
don't
helping
have
us out.
money right now.
I don't
I
see
think-
anybody
I think
helping
we
us
have-
out.
Move anyway.
I think realistically, Samardzic is the most viable option. And because he was already on his way out, he had a deal in place that he was satisfied with on a loan, and Udinese were satisfied. Anyone else out of the names will take some money. I mean, Sudakov, Shakhtar still in Champions League, and Kefren Turam, forget it, it's not happening in January. The rest of the names are not an immediate improvement, in my opinion. Summer just
I don't
knows the
see
league,
anybody in Serie A helping
knows
us
the
out.
language. It's
I
not up
think-
to them all the time.
Outside of Samardzic, I think Sudakov is an interesting option. The reason I say that because right now, to not be in dire needs of a midfielder with the profiles we need from losing Pogba and Fajoli, you would need Miretti to step up tremendously from what we've seen,
Massive.
or you need Max to utilize someone else in that role, maybe Illing or Yildiz, which I don't think he's going to be inclined to do. You got to bring one in because, again, when the injuries happen, then we get pretty light. And the midfield that we saw against Inter should not be a midfield go to because you can't, again, no disrespect to the guys because they do have their place and they do have their roles, but they just can't be out there together in terms of McKennie and Rabiot. I've said this for a long time, and you're limiting yourself. It did the job against Inter, but it lacked a lot in another job, which was support the attack. It is what it is.
What I'm
You're
thinking
going to have
is
to do something. For me, if they're tight and they're close down the wire, I think you have to address that profile, but you have to do so in a manner that they might have to, by bringing someone in, make a decision earlier on a guy like Rabiot by maybe deciding we're not going to renew because we're going to get this player coming in and whatnot. If it's going to be a redemption, if it's, you don't have an option, they want right to redemption to a player. So all these rumors about waiting off on renewals, they might have to make a decision come January in order to bolster the midfield if that's their plan. I don't really know what they're going to
Yeah,
do. They might leave it, but
the
I'd be
path
surprised.
the path seems that Ealing will be the one to leave for like 20
Yeah.
million. That were the most credible rumors so far that Tottenham are interested. 20 million that should fund another midfielder in January.
I think we
But
have enough parts to sell in order to buy another player. I think, and I agree with you guys, there is a need based on John Elkin's comments yesterday with financial stability and all like we're moving forward. This is how we're going to move forward. We're going to keep the financials clean. And I don't, I really don't see them making a splash
not a
because.
splash. They're not going to splash.
But hang on, I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a conversation behind closed doors in Juventus. Again, this is just me thinking outside the box. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a conversation where they're saying the competition in Serie A is down. We can lock up top four. So we don't have to do any splashes in January. We can survive with the players we have until June, and then we start spending in the summer.
Here, I gotta
But
clarify
but
this
what
because
if
you keep saying splash. Define splash because the moves that I'm talking about aren't splashes. So define splash. Spending outright in January would be a splash, right?
Anything over 10 million euros is a splash
Okay,
in
so
January.
here's where we disagree because you're not going to get someone coming in outright in January. You're going to have a loan for the 6 months, and then whether it be option or right to redemption. The thing is, naturally, come season's end, you've got Sandro leaving, which frees up 6.5 million euros. You're probably going to have Illing Jr. sold in January for somewhere
Correct. I
around
agree.
15 to 20 million. So I look at a splash as what Sassuolo wants to do with Berardi, which is the money up front, upright, like 30 mil, you're buying. That's a splash. These other
Okay.
moves for guys like, Sudakov, Spertian, Samardzic, for instance, these are loans with something on the back end that actually isn't very high. If we get something similar to what Inter had, it was like 15 million euros after the loan. That's not a splash. That's something I think that's
I don't see.
easily we
Bottom
can
line
handle.
is, I don't see any Serie A team helping us out with a loan, a gift, a noogie, a back scratch, or anything in January. I don't see
It's
Samardzic,
not a help.
anybody coming.
There's no money in Serie A right now. All the clubs are doing loans. This has been it's the same for
That's a good point.
the past 2 years. It's not a
yeah?
favor. It's the way it's got to work because there's no money there. So they either
And
take
I
a
asked the
deal.
questions. I asked the question last week in the live chat. I mean, it's not a coincidence that all the names that are popping up right now outside of Serie A. I mean, everyone talked
Yeah.
about only Samardzic coming from Italy, and that's been Giuntoli's thing. He's less of a buyer from Italy. He found his talents, worldwide, everywhere, and I think that's the direction he's looking for because Italian teams don't do us any favors, don't do themselves any favors, and they had enough of that. fueling the
Yeah.
league with money and getting nothing to show for it.
That's why I think, like,
I'm keeping
obviously,
my
and I
hopes
would
low.
agree, they're not going to splash in January, but nobody's splashing in January. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be a deal because they're not going to splash. There are options amongst that list, is what I'm saying, that are loans and back end deals, which are easily manageable because there's going to be a lot of cleanup going on. Calvo said it himself on last Thursday. The cleanup's done this year, whether he meant calendar year or season's end. I'm thinking season's end because there's going to be a big flux in resources. Yeah, it can be done. But amongst all this, Bernardeschi. So some of our Juventini chose violence yesterday. All right, Alex P was one of them in the comments saying that let's get Bernardeschi back. That is the guarantee to the Scudetto and whatnot. I will say this: I appreciate the Juventinita from Bernardeschi. I echo the same sentiments of Tony Trim here, but I'll tell you right now, when it comes to players, I'm a hard no on returns. You can maybe talk me into coaching, okay? But as far as players go, I am completely done now with returns, okay?
I would take Morata back in a heartbeat.
Not doing it. And Morata, I chalk him up with Bernardeschi, and Morata can go help him put on his makeup because that's a hard no from me.
It's weird.
Omer,
Makeup thing's
Berna,
weird.
Morata.
Oh, 100% no. I don't even know what position he's playing anymore. I mean, he's not the guy we need, in my opinion. That's a hard no for Bernardeschi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lucci
I
is
mean, the
mediocre
only
at
thing
best.
I would give him is the fact that as a utility, he could play in a number of different spots, but he lacks in all of those spots. So,
Sweet tattoos, though.
man, yeah, it's just it's gonna be a
Like a high
hard no.
school
They could
girl.
start a mariachi band. Yeah, they can do whatever they want, but just please
Yeah.
don't return, okay? Now, and yeah, the majority is just no returns there. I think with players, we got the PTSD there, but we do have to get into this one. Monza Juventus, this has been the nemesis last season. Monza's doing well this season. They'll be happy with where they are in the standings.
Doing
All
well.
right, they're finding ways. Palladino continues to get good results with the squad, albeit a younger squad as well. Doing well with young talent, getting himself a lot of credit and recognition around the league and in media. For Juve, we are going to talk about some of the rumors in the lineup here, okay? And we've got Sandro potentially starting in this one. Caviglia maybe getting the start. There's still some doubts with Locatelli. We've talked and covered rib injuries a lot. I had one this season. It's a nightmare. But Caviglia might go, and I'm okay with it. I said in this one, look, when it comes to Monza, it's no surprise what they're going to do, right? 3-4-3. The outsides are going to drop back. They're going to make that low man block with the 5 defensively and work from there. They can hit you on counters too. Very, very strong through counters. Colpani is a major cog in that for them. So we have to be wary, but it's breaking that 5 at the back that has been a nightmare for Juventus.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got the original lineup, that it would be a midfield of McKennie, Locatelli, Rabiot with Cambiasso on the right, Kostic on the left. I didn't initially like that. And for me, it's like Kostic on a low man block is going to turn into just dumping crosses into the area. And if you're going to play Chiesa and Vlahovic up top, it's not the best game plan. Obviously, yeah, you'll have McKennie in the area. For me, I would rather have Miretti in the middle of the pitch. You could play McKennie as your right wing back. On the left side, I think maybe this is a game where you do start Cambiasso, or maybe you even play Illing to get some type of work off of Chiesa. And when you pair it with Miretti coming out of the midfield, hitting those pockets of space, they're going to force us to play through the middle. This is not a midfield where you need McKennie and Rabiot together. That's just my 2 cents. Guys, do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think? And I will say for the record, Sandro, that's a hard no. I don't care who the hell we're playing. No start. No start from Sandro.
Yeah, weird how that works. And yeah, teams that play 4-3-3 usually tend to overload the wings more than the center. They kind of given up, and the two guys in there are just responsible recovering balls and distributing to the sides. But Kolpani is an interesting one. I mean, they did tear through us last season, at least in the second match. It looks like Palladino has Allegri's number. I mean, he knows what he's doing against Allegri. And that's why I'm concerned. We didn't look like we were better than them in both of the matches. Yeah, Di Maria got a red card in one, but still we lost it. That I mean, they are doing good this season. We have trouble
Oh,
scoring.
they're
They
not.
have the fourth. Yes, they are ninth place for a team who just got promoted last season. They are punching above the weight. They have conceded, I think, 12 goals this season, which is
Mm-hmm.
fourth. In Italy, we conceded eight, and we have trouble scoring. So yeah, I opened with that. I opened the show with I'm worried more than the match again against Inter, but there's a plus side to it. I mean, a win here today puts pressure on Inter. They're back from the Champions League. They have Napoli to play tomorrow. I mean, this could be important for us. A win here will probably show me some sort of improvement on last season run of form that ended the second an organized team came to play against us.
Yeah. I I had no worries. I felt like weird and calm and just cool, collected going into Inter. I knew we'd play a strong game and whatever, but that's because you're going to get openings because Inter's going to get after it. Monza, this one, like, they might give us fits in trying to crack, but ultimately, I still feel okay, but a little more weary about this one. Ant, what do you think?
Okay. First of all, when it comes to the midfield, we really have no one else other than Miretti to put in there, right? There's like really slide him in Illing Jr., but God knows where that guy is. He might be buried under a parking lot somewhere. We have no idea where Illing Jr. is, even though he's on the trip sheet to Monza. Okay, Monza has two wins and four draws at home, and no losses. That's pretty good. They've played one team above them in the table at home, and that's Bologna, and they tied. So I have no fear really of them coming at us, but I do echo Berto's point is that they're going to park the bus and they're going after 0-0-1-1 draw. That's how they're going to play it. So this whole game has nothing to do with Monza coming at us. It has everything to do with can Max put together the proper midfield? Because again, I 100% agree with Al. Can you put together proper midfield to break down the middle center backs or the defensive midfielders of Monza to create chances through the middle? I have very little faith that Juventus is going to do that. That's why my prediction will be what it'll be later today.
Yeah, I don't know. That's Miretti's got to play in a game like this for me. He's the only
Happy Friday,
midfielder,
Lucci.
as we highlighted before when we're talking about our targets, that is close enough to bring in that offensive support to guys like Chiesa, Vlahovic, but also helping the flanks out. I don't know if I'd start Kostic in this one, and go for. I wouldn't go for the
I don't think we have
crossing
to. We don't have to.
until later on. I don't think you have to. Why on earth would you have to if we know that a team's going to park it? Defensive
Exactly.
structure on a wingback role doesn't come clutch, and you can always keep the other and level it out. I don't understand why we have to. I think his numbers are inflated because he throws a million crosses into the area. I'm done hearing about assist this, assist that. Set pieces, all we got to do with the targets that we have on set pieces is put it in the mixer. It doesn't
Yeah,
have
put
to
the
be
pill in the square,
Kostic.
man. Someone's going to get a piece of it.
It doesn't have to be Kostic. I think I would go that route later in the game. I wouldn't approach it with the crossing strategy. That's just me. You guys can hash that one out. Omer, does Kostic have to start?
No, I don't think he's at the level of have to start. On the other hand, I mean, Ealing hasn't played a lot. I still prefer Cambiasso on the right than McKennie. We have no options in midfield, so it's kind of our hands are tied here. I
It's
wouldn't go with
interesting with
Ealing
Cambiaso on
right
the
out of the
right.
gate. No,
I,
he played on the right for Bologna, and I was impressed with him there. So he knows the position. It's not like playing him completely out of position like we did with Bernardeschi or Sule as a right wing back. So I'm not worried there.
Someone said in the chat earlier that they liked that right side with McKennie being in the middle, Cambiasso on the right, and then, of course, Gatti supporting. But I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not feeling the same way. I think I prefer Cambiasso when he's on the left side. But, again, we've only seen it that last episode against Inter there. We could possibly see it again today. We'll have to see. I believe the lineup's going to be coming out shortly. Someone says Romeo's already on it. We're just waiting for updates and everything.
While you look that up, I'll answer Haneen's question. Yeah, they're one of the best teams in possession. I saw that here. They're 5th in crosses. They're 4th in passes and passes completed. Okay, but they haven't played anybody. They've played all the shit teams in the league. So, and they're 3rd in fouls. So. Put that on your prediction list.
Let's see what happens. They were, I mean,
this is all on us. This
Szczesny in goal, Gatti, Bremer, Sandro. This is from Romeo. Oh my God, Sandro. And someone else put in there, well, would you play him against Napoli? We'd already lose the game before we start. How about neither? Neither
is a good answer as well.
Neither.
What's wrong with Rugani? What has Rugani done bad?
Rugani doesn't need a break. Danilo's available too. I would, and again, it's coming back from injury, but so is Sandro. Sandro's coming back from injury already as well, and he just looks. It was Tweedledee versus Tweedledum between him and Quadrado against Inter. They're both dusted, and Sandro couldn't even keep up with him. No. I'm done with this guy. Anyways,
side note,
he's
my
in there.
prediction on Desciglio will come true.
Cambiasso, McKennie, Nicolucci, Caviglia, Rabiot, Kostic, Chiesa, and Vlahovic up top. So we get
go through that
McKennie and
Can you say the
Rabiot.
midfield again? The midfield again? Sorry, I missed that.
Cambiasso, McKennie, Caviglia, Rabiot, Kostic with Chiesa and Vlahovic up top. So we get McKennie and Rabiot in there. You get Cambiasso on the right, I have no problems with, but that midfield, man, I think we're going to need a little bit of help there, a little bit of flair. Could be wrong. Maybe they could just impose themselves. Maybe we get across and Rabiot, McKennie get into it. We were talking about Rabiot yesterday, and believe it or not, this came from Lou, of all people. But he said, Juventus absolutely has to get Rabiot going. And
Lou said what?
I agree. I absolutely agree with him because he is not the same as he was last year. He doesn't seem to be as involved further up the pitch as he was, but we need him disrupting and creating some chaos and especially getting into the area. But I agree with him wholeheartedly. What do you guys think?
Yeah, based on what I think you and I had this conversation on the last show briefly. That guy needs to get his head out of his ass and start performing like he did last year. He hasn't been our worst player. He hasn't been our best player. He's just been there. Now, again, I always preach your best ability is availability. But, for God's sakes, just do something more than what you're doing. He's not terrible, but we need that. We need him to step that up.
Yeah. Any updates on Desciglio? Just he's still going to be a while apparently trying to get back.
He will have more minutes than Pogba this
Omer,
season. How do you like that prediction?
Your thoughts on Rabiot?
Yeah, not a lot to add. I don't know what's missing this season, but something is missing. Some involvement. He stays back too much. You don't have enough possession. I don't know what it is, but something hasn't arrived yet. Thank you very much, Alan. Really appreciate it. I don't know, something was left back in last season, mainly his attacking contribution, and he has to find a way to get it back. I mean, Chiesa and Vlahovic are out there on an island alone.
Yeah.
Did he get married or something? Like, did something change?
I don't know if he has a girlfriend even. No idea.
I've heard some rumors about Rabiot that maybe we'll keep for the green room.
That's the green room. That's for the green room.
That'll be a green room session when it comes to love life there. Omar, glad to have you back. Of course, Alan, massive thank you for the super chat there. Okay, much appreciated.
Okay, I just want to
Let's
say something real quick here. Everybody's excited to see Omer back. No one's more excited than me and Al. I'll put it to you guys. It is very exciting when we have Omer here, especially in the green room. This guy is a beauty when it comes to pregame, postgame green rooms. He, we went through a whole. I went through a whole learning session this morning.
I
Thanks, Omer.
love the
Yeah.
AJC team, each and every single member. But we've been we had
You
to
love
do a
some of your
lot
kids
of
more than
games due
others.
to the other schedules and everything. And then
Mm-hmm.
when we get together, it's it's like the band's back together.
Band's
So
back together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it just
Yeah,
feels right.
we had a lot of episodes of the three of us.
We had a lot of games last year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
A lot.
Oh, Lucci being sensitive. That's why you support Bernardeschi. All right, now. We talked about this in great detail. We have the lineups, that is from Romeo Gresti as to what to expect. It's time to put our money where our mouths are and get into
I'm
some
putting money on
predictions
it.
before Storm the Barn. Despite what I expect, again, I'm going to put it down on the midfield. Kostic is going to have to do a lot in creativity. I think Cambiasso is going to be a little more free today as well because he's not going to have a guy like Dumfries to try and keep tabs on, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think there's still the opportunity for him to do a lot for us, hopefully in this one, to kind of compensate for Rabiot and McKennie both being in the midfield. But if they're going to form that wall, we really have to send numbers to break it down. So I am looking at Rabiot. I am looking at McKennie to get involved, get up there, and get the job done. Caviglia, I wasn't worried about him against
Kissing while
Inter. I have
training.
no worries about him today. So, prediction time, final score, 2 tiebreakers. Who wants to kick us off? And I don't mind kicking us off if you want.
Do you need the referee stats before we go?
Oh, yeah. Fire away. Fire
Okay,
away.
so
Who is
Michael
this threat?
Fabri, he's no stranger to Juventus and Serie A. He's done 124 Serie A matches. He averages 4.7 yellows per game. All right. He's over the 124 matches. He's had 28 reds and 35 PKs. So he keeps the cards in the pocket. We'll just put it that way. So the last games he's done for us are he did in April our 1-0 loss at home to Napoli. He did the February our 1-0 win at home to Fiorentina, and before that he's worked all the games at home. The last 3. October was our 4-0 win at home to Empoli. So keeps the card in his pockets. Let's see how he does today. Again, Monza is 3rd in the league, averages 10 fouls per game. If that helps your prediction at all.
All
Over
right.
4.5
All
cards. Lucci. Thank you, buddy. I'm going to
So-
write that one down.
James Lapierre there had a dream. We lost last night, so I had to make the live to predict a 4-1 Juventus
Keep
win.
your dreams to
Cambiasso,
yourself,
Keane,
you weirdo.
Gatti, Chiesa. LA Juve's going 1-0 Juventus. We've got Abby coming in here with 2-1 Juventus. Guys,
2 goals.
it's time. It's time. Who's going for
Omer.
it? You want me to?
Doesn't
No, I
matter.
can start. So yeah, I'm kind of with them. It's either 2-1 or 1-0. I haven't decided.
Pick
I
one.
think I'll go with 2-1.
You crazy son of a bitch.
I think I'll go with a 2-1. I think Vlahovic continues his scoring streak from last week, so he gets one, and another one coming from the defense. Someone from defense, don't know who. Definitely not Sandro. And I'll be keeping
Sandro
eyes
Sandro
on
scoring.
Di Gregorio. I mean, we're talking about next goalkeeper, Carnesecchi, and a bunch of other names. Keep an eye on Di Gregorio. I think he's a great goalkeeper.
I believe he's
That's
got
one
the
to look out
highest save
for.
percentage right now. Does he not? Didn't Joe Cappuccino hit us with that yesterday?
It
I'm
doesn't
pretty sure he's
surprise
got the
me if he
highest
does.
save percentage in the league. It's no stranger for goalies to turn into Superman when they face Juve too. But part of that is our
True
finishing.
statement.
So let's hope that
Yeah.
the guys got their shooting boots and finishing boots on today. So Omer's got his in. I was gonna go clean sheet until I see Sandro in that starting 11. I would not be surprised at a 2-1 score line, but I am gonna say we still do not concede to Monza. I'm gonna go with the 2-0 victory today. We're gonna put last season behind us. I think we're gonna get one goal that's kind of a shot from the top of the area, and then I think we're going to get one of those set piece specials from Juventus. My goal scorers, I'll take Chiesa for 1, and I'm going to take, just for everything we said today, I'm going to actually take Rabiot for the other. So Chiesa and Rabiot as goal scorers. And for cards, under 5 in this one. Under 5 cards in this one. That's my prediction. So 2-0,
Under
Chiesa,
5.5?
Rabiot. Under 5 total, yeah.
So under 4.5.
Sure.
Come on, man, get with it.
5. No more than 5 cards in this game. Ant,
Well, what
fire
if it's
away.
5? Okay. Anyways, so the 2-1 scoreline pays 7 plus 750. Not a bad bet. The 2-0 scoreline plays plus 850. I might spread a little bit of money on that, see how it goes. I have less confidence than both you in the goal scoring ability today, so I am betting heavy with Lucci on the 1-0 scoreline, which pays plus 600. Juve to win. Now, a draw, I'm just saying a straight up draw plays plus 240. I'm not hoping for a draw. I'm not wishing for it. You know, you got to sprinkle stuff around here anyway. Okay, so I got Juve at 1-0. I got Dusan to score, but I'm going to parlay that with a Chiesa assist. So that pays, so those two together pays plus 639. So 6 times your money. Dusan goal plus Chiesa assist. And then I'm going to go Juve halftime winner. So we'll be up 1-0 at halftime. That'll be the final score because then we're going to park the bus. And then I have McKennie 2+ fouls at plus 200.
Easy one.
Yeah.
Those are my predictions.
Yeah. Look, it's
All
an
right.
important win. It's an important win to put pressure on Inter before Saturday. This could be. I mean, keeping them on a draw was good for us.
Or it could
I
ruin our whole
believe.
weekend, really.
If they had already played and I knew what their scores was, it will pile up more pressure. I think we have the upper hand here to put
Now,
pressure on them.
I'm going to remind everybody, this is the time to fire in your questions, okay? Storm the barn session open now. Fire away. But I do want to talk about this because obviously, yeah, we want to keep the pressure on. This is a big game, especially with what's coming up on the weekend as Napoli is set to host Inter at the Maradona. We saw Inter play in Champions League to Benfica. And
Napoli's terrible at home.
Awful start, but a massive amount of rotation. And Inzaghi was always bound to do that because they're not worried about qualifying. They are going to qualify. They still mustered a draw after being, 3-0 down. Actually could have won it, but Ella hit the woodwork. They could have won 4-3. Epic collapse from Benfica, but good fight back from Inter. And they've rested so many for that game. Napoli, on the other hand, played Real Madrid. They lost 4-2, but I think they can hold their heads up high about that performance, to be honest. And this is going to be an interesting one at the Maradona. I just want to ask you guys, who do you think takes that one? Do you see Inter beating Napoli there, or do you think Napoli gets it done and really flips this Serie A race at the top on its head right now?
Look, it really depends on if Osimhen's starting or not. He came on as a sub after an injury in the past 2 matches. So if he is starting, that makes it a lot more interesting. I think Napoli will have the edge here. Don't know why, just kind of a feeling. I mean, they're still the reigning champions. They still have a good team. Maybe, some late boost with the new manager is something that almost always happens. And I mean, they were good, like you said, they were good against Real Madrid. Admirable performance. I wouldn't say they should have won or drawn, but still, admirable performance. Yeah. I think they get one over Inter.
Yeah.
In checking the Monza stats, I was looking like their home stats. I was looking at the home and away, and when I clicked on home stats, Napoli's like in the relegation zone. I think they have 7 out of a possible 16 points at home. They're not good at home. So
yeah, but I had a trash for a coach.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they went to 0-2. Like they lost the first two games off out of the gate at home, but at the end of the day, the best result for us in that is a draw.
Yeah, Napoli's
I
home
really don't.
record is 2
I
wins,
have no
1
faith in
draw,
that.
3
But
losses. Definitely
yeah, there
not
you go.
not solid out of those 6 games at home. Away from home, undefeated. So maybe they
Yeah,
would like that game being at the San Siro, but
there you go.
it's going to be tough either way.
Hmm.
The thing with Napoli is, and I've been saying this all season, even when they were struggling under Rudy Garcia, is I see a team that's lacking that finishing and that everything that they were so strong at last season, which was finishing. It's kind of out the window, and they don't seem to have that same confidence. Things change when you're the reigning champion and everyone's coming after you, and it's a hard thing to repeat. It would be wild to imagine a team like, say, I don't know, winning 9 straight or whatever. It's just so difficult to repeat. But
Oh, it is.
it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. I will say this: Inter will allow Napoli opportunities to attack. I think it's going to be actually a wild game. I wouldn't be surprised in a draw. And Annie Mesh says a draw would be great. It would be. It'd keep Napoli kind of down with a cushion for us. It'd put us level with Inter. Allegri had some choice words during his press conference. They really, he just knows how to fire people up. But he says, it's a point of pride to be 2 points behind Inter on the table. And this had a really negatively fueled and charged response from a lot of tifosi. I want to get your guys' thoughts on him saying that, and are people taking it way out of line?
I'd
I
have to
think
see the whole thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Omer.
I think Allegri is a master at diverting attention where he wants
Hmm.
people to look, and yeah, go hang around with that quote and post a million words about it in the paper, and the fans are fighting. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with something else that should be the focus of everyone. So he's always like throwing those type of stuff into his press conferences to get everyone talking about that instead of other stuff. And I think he's always been good at that. He's not dumb. I mean, he knows how to manipulate the press maybe better than any other manager in Serie A. He definitely doesn't throw his fits like Mourinho or Sarri or all those guys. So that's I
He
don't
doesn't.
think he's doing that. His fits on the in the press conferences,
Not
never.
at
Well, on the
pressers.
field, not on the pressers.
On the field, yeah. On the field, yeah. I'm talking about press, about the stuff he said, not the way he acted.
Okay.
So yeah, that's very Allegri. Like it doesn't surprise me. He always says those type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd have to see the whole kind of thing. Is it just was he just saying? Was it a one piece of a larger quote to say, "Hey, we should be happy to be in the. We're happy with the position that we're in, and it so happens to be 2 points behind Inter." Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the whole quote? I don't know. I think you said at the beginning of the show he's doing a really good job this year. We'll have to deal with how he's going to be at the end of the year, if he's going to be here or not. I still don't think he is, but
I think
I'm not too concerned about it.
you might have to be a little more selective in what you actually say. I get what he's saying, and he's not wrong. He's wrong for throwing. It's like not having a finger on the pulse of the friggin' tifosi. Just say it's a point of pride for us to be 2 points and in the thick of a Scudetto race or whatnot. To
Yep.
say it's a point of pride for a club like Juventus to be behind Inter of all friggin' squads, obviously is going to fire up the fan base. And it does look like at some point you're trolling your own fan base. So just be more selective. I get what he's saying, and I agree with it, okay? Because I think it is solid for this team, what we've seen over the past few seasons, to now be in this race and be one of the only sides that could be an anti-Inter this season. Everybody's saying it, that it's going to be Juve, it's going to be Inter going at it. But don't ever say it's a point of pride to be behind Inter in any way, shape, or form. But yes, it's a point
Fair
of pride from where we've came these past few seasons to be in the thick of things and only 2 points out of top with a chance to go up top. It's just
Yeah, he
sometimes
might.
how you say things. That's all. It's how
Yeah,
you
he
say
should
things.
have added a bit more context. Adding maybe after everything we've been through last year, being here 2 points behind Inter,
Yes.
maybe would have sprinkled some sugar on that quote. I believe that's what he meant. In this
Yes.
point in time, everything that happened, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
point of pride
So
with this young team and no transfer market and everything.
yeah, so we all agree. We all agree.
Yeah,
He's
we
not
know what
wrong
he
in what he's
meant.
saying and whatnot. It's just again, how the delivery goes is usually what I find the issue with Max. But
Yeah,
ultimately,
poor choice of words.
yeah, I
Uh,
don't care. Go out there. It's Monza. Get the job done. Okay. And again, Inter is the strongest team on paper this year. I have no issues with what. Yes, we know that. But again, point of pride to be behind Inter. Come on now, Jace KP.
but that's
Take it easy.
micro-analyzing it a
Take
bit.
it easy. Take it easy. All right. Is there anything we didn't tackle outside of this that you guys want to bring up? If everybody in the live, last shot for Storm the Barn, I'm going to leave it open to you guys for any questions, something we have to tackle.
Yeah, I saw some interesting opinions about a certain topic. I'd like to get yours. Um, Sule, Matthias Sule. He's doing great at Frosinone, one of the best attackers in the league. Um, the opinion is pretty much divided in half of whether we should have kept him because look what he's doing, or good, he needs that loan and he needs to keep playing. I'm on the other side. I mean, the loan is very good for him. I'm happy that he gets to play full 90 minutes against all the top teams in the league. I think that's the right move, and we'll get a better player next year when we get him. I mean, if someone is doing great on a loan, that's not bad. It's not bad for Juve that we gave him up this season. I think it's good for Juve in the future. But what are your opinions? Should we have kept Sule
No.
after what you've seen from him this season?
I'll be quick. No, because I don't think he'd be doing what he's doing now if he was still with Juventus. I think this is great for him. And
He would definitely wouldn't get the minutes he got.
Right. And Al and I talked about this on the last show. Next season, bringing him back here in our current formation still won't work. So I think for him to shine with Juventus, we can't be playing in this 3-5-2. It won't work.
So
I hope
still
he comes
believe
back.
We'll see a change in formation next year, even this season.
the fact that people can even argue the fact of whether the loan has been beneficial or not is actually wild to me, that we should have kept him. It's right there in front of your eyes. If you look back at the performances Sule had with us, and I'm not talking about the ones when he was out of position, okay, as an outside right player, but when he was getting opportunities in advanced positions, the confidence level, his shot, he couldn't even do more than throw a muffin at the net, and usually still going wide. Like, it looked like he had no self-belief, no confidence, no nothing. This loan had to happen 1,000%, okay? In terms of Sule coming back, yeah, I mean, it has to, but we have to look at what we're going to do. Are we going to remain in this 3-5-2? I do believe Sule can be very useful with next to a target guy and could definitely play up top there in that role. The problem is that everybody, is saying, well, he wasn't getting that spot when he was here, whatnot. Yeah, he didn't. But if we're going to look at getting him back, there's only two spots he could fit in this current 3-5-2. You either play an advanced midfielder properly with two pivots behind, which is what I believe we should be doing anyways. That opens up a spot for a guy like Sule. It also opens up a spot for a guy like Yildiz. Otherwise, these guys have to play next to a top striker. But when you've got Chiesa there, there's no other room in this lineup for Sule. And that's maybe what's going to be an issue next season, unless we switch outright to a 4-3-3 or something like that. But if we do that, you better bring me better midfielders. And then, and probably a little more help on the outsides, because I don't know about Weah as a right back, a true fullback. So there's some work to do on the roster. But 1,000% the loan, right idea. I think Moretti needs one, to be honest. I'll go as far to say
100%.
Moretti needs one. You know?
Yeah, well,
We would need to bring in a couple players before we loan them, but
they keep reminding us that they are talking to him about the contract renewal. So it does look like he's in the plan. So minimum, getting sold for a high price, and this season will pump his price up nicely.
Who's
But yeah, he
that?
still doesn't have a Sule. And a shout out
He's
to
not
Uber in
getting
the
sold.
chat too. No,
You think
and
we'd sell
definitely
him?
not.
Barnechea is doing good too. Would we sell who?
Sule? You think
I
they'd
don't
sell
think they're
him
going to
this
sell
summer?
Sule. I don't think they're
Neither
going to
do I.
sell him.
I don't know. Let's see how the season goes on, and if a big offer comes from the Premier League, I think he's dispensable.
Yeah.
I think they'd have to finalize who the manager is first. They
Yeah,
better get
obviously.
that done. They better get that done next June, because then it'd be up to the manager.
think-
I don't see a new manager coming
I
in saying,
think
"Yeah, we don't need that kid." I don't see
I
it.
think we'll know who the next, not who the next manager is, but if Allegri stays or goes. A week after the final match of the season.
Yeah. Which young gun do you think has the most possibility to shine in this game today?
Well, out of the young
Well,
guns, who do we have?
well, Vlahovic is a young
Cambiaso and Nicolucci. Those are the two guys.
I don't know.
Vlahovic and
This was
Nicolucci are the
another
same
question
age.
earlier. Is Illing going to get minutes in this one?
I think
They're
he will.
not going to let Illing off the bus. So, no.
I think we
I
see
think he
Illing
is
today,
playing.
to be honest.
I think so too. I also think we'll see Ildiz.
I hope.
But both of them are not starting. I think Nicolucci has a good chance here. He was okay against Inter. That's probably the best midfield in the league. So it should be a good test for him today, especially after the Inter match.
I'm going to say
I don't know.
Cambiaso today without the shackles of being on Dumfries. I'm going to take Cambiaso shining today. Ant?
But I don't know what young gun means. Like we're people think that we're like our average age is 40 years old. Our average age is younger than Monza's.
Yeah,
So-
average age. But young
that.
gun, I'd probably say the young guy's 23 under.
Vlahovic.
Okay. That's your
'Cause
young
he's
gun for
young.
today.
What are we talking about here?
Come on, you're
I
such
don't.
a rebel.
Yeah. I
Come
don't know
on, you
about
know what they're
Vlahovic.
talking about.
I know Vlahovic had a great interview, but
Yeah.
I don't know with this guy. He's got to bring what he did against Inter steady every game. So today,
Yes.
he better
agree.
be on that same level. And if he isn't,
He was on it last game. He was into that game, and him coming off really pissed me off.
Well,
he wanted it.
He was much better.
I tell you what, he's better. It got overshadowed by the moment, the emotions, the adrenaline in that game. But he's got to ease up on that celly, man. You haven't scored in 2 months, and you haven't played like that consistently whatsoever. So take it easy with the
Leave him
cellies.
alone.
Just get
Leave him
your
alone.
get your head right. And it's Monza today.
Get your head right.
Like, bag one. Get it going. Let's go. Your prediction on number of points we'll get in December. So this is a good one too, because
We have 5. We have 5.
Little bit of a
matches.
little bit of a tricky schedule here for the month of December. So we got Monza. We are then going to go and play Napoli, but that's going to be at home. Then we've got away from home Genoa, Frosinone, and then you've got Roma at home to finish up December. So
13 points. 4 wins and a draw.
I think we get 12. I think we have 1 loss here.
4 wins and a loss.
Yeah. How many goals? 4.
guys,
7. 1 against.
no, 15.
Yeah, I was really thinking about going 5 straight wins. I think
I know you're going to
No,
say
no,
that's
no.
just
Game's gonna be a draw.
unrealistic. That's going here. I honestly,
We've been there last
I
season.
see. I'm with you, bro. I see 15 points.
Genoa not concerned. Frosinone, I'm not concerned. Napoli will be one of those other tests of, are they going to break us down? Are they going to hurt us? Are they going to punish us? But you know what? Inter's scoring the most goals this season. And that was probably the biggest test you're going to face. Napoli, things could turn this weekend too, depending what happens. No way, man. I'm going 5. And Roma? Are you kidding me? No
Roma
way.
stink. Don't even get me started on Roma.
Don't
They
even get me
absolutely
going with
stink.
Roma. I'm going 5. I'm going perfect. We're going to go this month perfect. And I'll tell you right
I'm
now.
riding with you, Berto. I'll do the same
Yeah.
thing. I'm going to go 5 wins too, buddy.
No.
Yeah,
I don't
think
see
we'll
it.
I can
have
see it.
one loss.
You're a son of a
I
bitch
still-
sometimes. You know that?
Come on, I don't want you to look back on our April predictions from last season. Those were horrible. I'm still shocked.
That's
Look what
April.
happened. So
That's April, man. That's April last season, man.
Hang on, I
Yeah,
got them right here.
December,
There's a
I don't know.
reason. There's a reason the windshield's bigger than the rear view because it's more important to look ahead than it is behind.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I am-
Let's go, baby.
I am looking ahead, but still, I believe we'll have one loss here. I don't know who. Against who? Maybe. I don't think Napoli at home. I don't know. Maybe we'll get shocked today.
Hey, I know this is a banana peel game, but we just can't slip
No,
up.
my
Can't slip
prediction
up.
was 2-1, but still.
It is a banana peel game though, with what went on last season, and then of course the big
I got
game
last
against
April's
Inter.
predictions.
But
I got
What's
last
up?
April's predictions if you want to hear them real quick. I actually found them. You ready?
I started by saying don't look for them. Okay,
We had 9 games last April. 9.
true.
I went 6 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, but I only wrote down Berto's. You had 7 wins and 2 draws.
Oh yeah, I'm always
We went-
optimistic with these things.
We went 2 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses.
What an awful month. That was a disaster.
Yeah, I told you not to go there, but still.
Beat Verona, drew Inter, lost to Lazio, Sporting, win, lost to Sassuolo, draw Sporting.
You know
lost
what?
To Napoli, lost to Inter, draw Bologna.
You know what?
That was a tough
Now
one.
that you brought that up, it changes fuck all for me, okay? 5 wins in the month of December, 15 points. Let's go. And Tony Trim, if we go perfect, we win the Scudetto. There's a long way to go
Who's-
and a lot of football to go. I will say this though, for me, I've been saying this a lot lately. I don't like the style, okay? I don't like it. But I understand it. Because I really do truly believe I myself have given some of the guys a little bit too much in their valuations in my mind mentally based on what I think we're capable of and everything. But I think we're grinding our teeth. We're fighting hard. We're finding ways, and that is one thing that has to be part of being a strong team. But we do have to just hit another level, hit another gear. My question is, can we do it with who we have currently? And that's where I start to feel like no, and not because of a knock on the guys up top, okay? Not because of a knock at the guys at the back. The guys at the back have been our backbone. They're our best. We live and die by the guys at the back. It's because of the midfield, and everything is associated with the midfield, offense and defense. And for me, until we sort that out, I don't know if we can hit that next gear. So guys like Miretti needs to really, and I almost feel bad for him because I always say we shouldn't be banking on these young guys. We need to integrate them and have them just kind of grow and groom with us. The problem is with Pogba's situation, Fagioli's situation, the fact that your replacement midfielders don't have that offensive creativity, the pressure is there and we can't escape it. We need Miretti to elevate his game, in turn elevating some of our style out of the middle. That's my thoughts. It sucks to say, but there is pressure on Miretti, I feel. And he's
Look,
not going to be in it. He's not even going to be in this game. And we're going to go with McKennie and Rabiot. And for me, I don't think we should be going that route long term. Definitely not. Definitely not. Creativity is going to be an issue, man.
Look, I will credit Max. I don't know how many managers get a result against Inter with the lineup we had.
Yeah.
last week. Just looking at the lineup, I mean, that midfield,
Oh,
actually not losing that. No, looking forward, like if in 10 years' time we look back at this lineup, will all those guys seem to us like Amari and Thiago and Grigera, or are they a level above? Because I didn't see that at the time. I didn't thought they were that bad. Now I know how bad they were. So I don't know. Is Vlahovic another Amari or another
God,
Matri
stop it.
or
Stop it.
I
Amaudi was an absolute disaster.
for me it's all
Amari
for
was
me
a
it's all
killer
in
at
the it's all in the middle, you guys. Like
Mm-hmm.
we keep our forwards up. We got to get them support. We have to actually play off of Vlahovic with one of the midfielders. Lou and I talked about this yesterday. And Drugi Bianconeri, my God, man. Oh, gave me lagita there. Acid reflux, okay? But Sandro De Chilio, we talked about this yesterday, and I can't for the life of me understand why a pragmatic coach, for the most part, like Max, doesn't want to attempt to support the forwards a little more with that advancing midfielder rather than play him from a right side or a left side, because the way Chiesa plays, it naturally leaves that other striker alone. And you have to still support him. You still have to play off those guys. Against Inter, Vlahovic did so much work on a bloody island, and we got away with it in the first half. But my God, man, he didn't have a lot for options. And the goal we hit, Chiesa had drifted from him. Chiesa wasn't even near him. He managed to fend off the challenge from Dumfries and then find Chiesa there, and he was able to take off. But we kind of have to pick things up, and we got to figure that out. But for me, it's not going to happen with guys like McKennie and Rabiot. There's not enough technical ability there to really turn the switch in balance and style. So there's work to do. We're getting results, but we all can agree there's a lot left to be desired, right? So, and that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I think a lot of Juventini, when you bring up that April too, have that feeling like this thing can just come off the rails at any point in time. You know what I mean? Based on what we're seeing not being convincing. But I will say this, and I've said this thing steady for the season, so I'm not just coming up with this. Nobody's really convincing me. Napoli's not convincing. Milan sure as hell ain't convincing. Roma's not convincing. Atalanta's not convincing. Bologna is convincing for where they are because they're steady. They don't allow goals. They've only allowed 10. They don't score much, but you don't have to score much when you're not conceding. Does that sound familiar? Juventus. When you're not conceding, you don't have to score a ton. Right now, our strength, we can all agree on, is the defense. That's why I think what Max is doing is the right approach with the roster we have currently. No one's going to change my mind. Who would be our most improved player under Conte? Give me 3. Oh, man. The Conte thing. Hey, half. Oh, man.
okay?
Like who in the past, or if he comes in,
Fantasy style question. Who would be our most improved player under Conte? Give me 3.
Who would be
Come-
in the future?
Cambiasso.
Yeah, I think
He
you can
does
get
something.
out of
He does something
Cambiaso.
special with wingers. He turned Giaccherini into like a wizard. Like, what are we talking
Would we
about?
say Vlahovic?
Yeah, Victor Moses. And most improved, yeah, I think Conte knows how to play with a big striker with his back to goal, but Vlahovic has to improve himself. Could be, could be. Hard not to draw similarities with his Inter. I mean, Lautaro as Chiesa, Lukaku as Vlahovic. I think he's still struggling in midfield to get something more out of the guys we have. Maybe Locatelli can improve under him, but mainly the wings and someone in defense. I think he's worked probably miracles in the past with Bonucci and Barzali and elevating them to the level that they got. Because Bonucci had a horrible season before Conte came in, and he managed to find his place. So tricky.
I would
I don't
say
think he'd have to do as
Conte
much
is
with
surprising.
Vlahovic as he. I don't think he'd have to do as much with Vlahovic as he would putting players, elevating players around Vlahovic to get him service. I think if you elevate players around Vlahovic, he will exceed his levels without any help. He just
I,
needs better
I think
service,
our
better
most
support.
improved guys under Conte, if I had to pick three, would probably be Gatti, Locatelli, and Cambiaso.
I agree with those.
yeah, I
Vlahovic
think it's
is right there for
more.
me too. I think he would actually do a lot with Vlahovic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more of a tactical improvement that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And the movements on the pitch, the supporting, the covering back, recovering balls. That's something Conte is actually a master at, of placing the players in the right spots on the field. And that's what we're lacking. Like we said,
Team.
most of our attacks is someone stuck on an island and just looking for options to pass, eventually passing it back to Tech.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm looking from our next manager. I don't think the players are as bad that you can't salvage anything out of them, but the change should be more tactical than individual.
Yeah. That's I mean, fair assessment, but the
Interesting
whole
question.
Conte thing in general, everyone knows. I, I've been saying what I've been hearing dating back to May. There's
June, May, June. Yeah.
definitely some fire there, but ultimately I am no to Conte. I'm of the more leaning towards a mindset of something new if we were to make a change from Max. My thing here is if Max gets a Scudetto this season, okay? Why change?
He's staying.
If he
Why
gets a
change for
Scudetto,
the
he's
sake of
staying.
changing?
Mm-hmm.
No, if he gets a Scudetto, he's definitely staying, unless he's had enough and needs a break and wants to just, end it, which wouldn't surprise me after everything we've been through in the past 3 years, especially
Yeah.
last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just had enough, needs a break, too much pressure, too much work, everything is on him, all eyes are on him, newspapers. I wouldn't be surprised if he's had enough, if that's coming from him.
And I
I don't get
understand
that vibe from him though.
I understand this Stone Age football thing, okay? I understand that people want that sexy football, okay? But I will say this. How much of that is the quality that these coaches have at their disposal? Like we literally saw this on display last weekend. Called it to a T for you guys on the preview. Simone Inzaghi and Allegri are the same man. They are the same man. The difference is one is dealing with a lot of quality at his disposal. The other isn't. Definitely not in the midfield. Did Max Allegri always play Stone Age football? No.
No.
No. And where did it start to go wrong? For me, it's when our midfield needed boosting. And I look back to that season when things started to go off the rail, that season and a half around 27-18 for Max. That midfield needed to be revamped. You could make the argument that when he left, it still didn't get worked on. It still didn't get revamped. Okay?
In his defense,
it hasn't.
In Max's defense, he lost potentially his two best playmaking midfielders this year. He lost Pogba and he lost Fajoli.
But
Look, there is a
no
significant
replacements.
advantage here to Simone. Simone came to a club with a functioning general director, and that's a big difference. Okay, Max in the past 3 years had to deal with three different sporting directors. He started off with Paratici, then moved on to Arrivabene, and now he has Giuntoli, where Inter had Marotta the entire time. And we know Marotta knows how to build, just a team of players and how to replace the players that are leaving. And that's been a big factor in Inter's roster in general. They've been able to fill the gaps because they have a functioning sporting director, and Juve didn't have one.
I'm going to go a little like another step above too and say coaches in general, these guys, these modern football coaches that everybody's, really liking and everything, I still see a lot of them have this similar kind of trait where it's almost like I'm going to go down my way no matter what. And for me, I kind of not down with that. I'm kind of not down with that, okay?
You got it.
Going down No, how about adapting from something different, even if it's not your way, your main philosophy, in order to get the result? Right now, Thiago Motta is doing wonders with Bologna. Is he a modern football coach? Is he a sexy? Do they play sexy football? Sometimes, not all the times, but what do?
They
Get
play smart.
results. Get results. And I would actually make the argument that if I was a big club looking for that guy to take that next step, I would say that Mota's ahead of everyone else right now. And it pains me to say that because of his ties with Inter. And it's one of the things that would make me ever hesitant to bring him on at Juventus. But what he's doing for me is better than these other guys like De Zerbi, Italiano. Italiano's rate, everybody loves Italiano ball. They can't even score goals this year. But now all of a sudden
So
it's a player quality thing. But with
so
Juventus,
I
we
have
can't address our midfield.
I have a question, and that was actually supposed to be my question. I give you four managers now, Italian, relatively young managers. Who do you pick between? If like, you said you wanted to go on Euro, someone who wasn't at Juve, young. So let's go with De Zerbi, Motta, Dionisi, and Palladino.
Okay,
If you have to
hold
choose
on.
one of the four.
Motta, Dionisi, Italiano.
No, not Italiano, De Zerbi and Palladino, because we weren't linked to to what's his name, Italiano.
Yeah, I just said it would be
Yeah,
Motta
so
out of
you
those
answered
guys.
the question, so I
Yeah,
move it to Ant.
and I would go Motta.
Well, Palladino's at Monza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Someone who's dealing with a Deserby's dealing, so he's dealing with a bigger club. He's shown results.
Brighton?
I don't want a returning manager. So if I had to, the next best thing would be someone with some bigger club experience. So I'd probably lean towards Deserby there, but Mota would be right there.
Did Serbi said one of those things that highlighted what my fear is with a lot of these modern attack so strongly attack oriented managers is that he said I would rather lose and do it my way and at least playing well. I'm not concerned about winning or losing. Yeah, that was his word. I'm not concerned about winning or losing as long as we go out and play well and whatnot. And I'm like, what? Excuse me, what?
That will change when you start
Even
winning.
Spalletti with the Azzurri found a way to get out of his, and he called it, and he said, you know what, I'm subbing in these guys, I'm protecting this because we need a draw. Even Spalletti adapts when need
Did he
be, but
say
for
that, or
me,
you're just going by what he did? Did he actually
I'm
say that?
sorry, and I Mota for me is ahead of all the other guys. He really is. I like Zerbi. I always have. I like him. I like what he does with teams and whatnot, but I think he's a one trick pony. I don't think he can switch it up. There's no plan B. We could say that about Max too. People will say, well, he's only plan A. It's defense, 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 right? But it wasn't always like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like Zerbi, he's got this belief of how football should play, whatever, and he does. What I find interesting is a lack of talent can still produce kind of his gameplay and everything and how he wants to go out there. But the problem is he will do that up against anyone and sometimes get absolutely thrashed, which means that you did not put your team in a position to succeed for that game at that moment in time. That is the biggest difference I see between Mota and a guy like De Cerbi, and even Max Allegri for that amongst all of them. It's putting your team in with the opportunity to succeed for that game. How many times this season? We've only lost one game, you guys. But was that game plan? Why did we get thrashed in that game to Sassuolo? Why did we lose that game?
Well, it was an own goal. We went down 1-0.
Not gonna the end. I think it was mainly mentally, demons from last season came crawling back, and suddenly we dropped the lead. Actually, we didn't have the lead, but every time
Mm-hmm.
we score and then we concede, we kind of lose it and start looking for a goal immediately instead of playing organized. And that's where Juve failed. And Sassuolo managed to capitalize. I mean, they did beat Inter too. That's Inter's only loss in the season as well.
Yeah, I got
And
a point about this.
yeah, so they are like that, but I think it was mainly mental collapse after conceding.
I just, for me, you know,
Can I
it's
just say
all
one thing
about
on this
the
one?
main
Okay, go
thing I
ahead.
take for a coach. Sorry, I'm just gonna finish this quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You have to put your team in a position to win in every single game. And if it goes
Mhm.
against your philosophy, then you have to adapt. And that's one of the big things I see with some of those other coaches that are up and coming that everybody's hyping up is that they don't necessarily do that. But for me, a guy like Mota, he does it. We saw it. He did that to us in our draw. He played completely different the week before he faced Juventus. And then he's like, okay, I know what Juve's going to struggle with. And he did it to us. That is coaching for me. Putting your team in a position to succeed in each and every match. I don't care if it's blow the roof off the place, 5 goals. We'd all love to see it. I would love to see it. But at the end of the day, put us in a position to win. And
Yeah, that comment there about Max can't adapt, bad at player physical management. So we dumped on Max a lot last year, in the beginning of this season with his playing style and whatnot. And you said it earlier on this show, and we said it on the last time I was on here. We give too much credit to the talent in the midfield of this team. I And Lou smacked us in the face in the group chat a while ago. He's like, we're not that good. People think that Juventus should be up here in the league. Our talent level, it's not up there. And
it
Max
isn't.
is doing what he can with the players that he has. Is he punching above his weight, as Omer likes to say? I don't think so. I think we're right where we should be.
Yeah.
But I think the expectations of what Max can do with this team, and I'm guilty of it. I expected much more from Max, but I'm sort of coming back down to reality with the players that we have, and we're right about where we should be in terms of goals against, goals for. We can always improve, but let's not just assume like we're going to start banging in 5 goals a game. That's just not how this team is built.
No,
We
that's
don't
not
have
going
that
to
that
happen.
level of talent.
Look, you can prepare as much as you want. There's eventually it's sports. There's another team on the other
There's
side
another
who are
team. That's right.
preparing as well. And no matter how good you are, just sometimes it doesn't work out. Individual errors. That's what we always talk about. Players should be held accountable too. And you can have your game plan perfect, but if your strikers don't finish 8 out of 8 chances on target, then that's not
Mm-hmm.
up to the coach anymore. So there's a lot of factors. That's what's great about sports, that it's unpredictable. We can assume, but being a fan, you always go into every match believing you can win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
North
It's
And
Macedonia did it last year.
for me,
yeah,
we just and I said this earlier on in the show, okay? So I'm not picking on anybody and I'm calling myself on it, just like
Mm-hmm.
Anth did. I think we give certain guys way too much credit in terms of the roster and where they're
and not
at
enough time,
and what level they should be at. I think we just
Mm-hmm.
overhype some guys, and that's just the way it is. I
and not
think we're
enough
seeing
time.
it, and it's at the end of the day, you can't argue with results. That's the bottom line. You cannot
Yep.
argue with results, whether they come, the way you want them or not. Really, ultimately, doesn't matter because it's a results-oriented business. Okay, and right now the results are coming. I get what happened in the first couple of years with him, but it's over. It's over. We can only judge based on what's going on now. It wasn't anyone's decision whether he stays or goes, whatever, but the club's. He has stayed, and right now, things are moving in the right direction. Do not slip on the banana peel today. Juve,
Need
okay,
it.
Monza, the predictions are in, everybody. I'm going to remind you, 20 minutes before kickoff, join me back on the channel, live, watch along, and hopefully we can slay the dragon that was our nemesis last season, Monza. I can't believe it. But like Omer said, He's right. I'm a little more worried or weary about this game than I was Inter. Don't slip up. Get the job done. I expect a very business-like performance today, okay, from Juventus. Can't wait to rock the live watch along with all of you. Omer, Anthony, always a pleasure. We've got the post-match podcast tomorrow. I know Anthony will not be able to make it, but Omer, you are back tomorrow as well, I believe.
Yeah, I can be here tomorrow.
Man, I think there's a whole bunch of the AJC crew that can make it tomorrow, but
we
you guys
might
don't need to see me.
we might have 4, maybe 5. I don't know. We'll see what
Don't
happens.
worry, I'll be
you
here
guys
next Friday.
are great
Friday
in the
I'll be right
live. Always an absolute pleasure. Okay, yeah, Coco Melon. That was the magic word for the goals. Don't forget that one. I'll see you on the watch along, all right? Like the video on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. As always, Fino alla fine, Forza Juve. Today, hopefully we get Monza, the big day. Let's go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in a couple hours.
Coco Melon.
Yeah.